Welcome back, traders and investors. It's our Wednesday segment all about trends with Harlan. I'm not lying, Pyan. Harlan, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing fine. How are you all?
I bet you never heard that before, right?
Yeah, never. Only from you.
Oh,
Joel,
I
you're
don't,
so
I don't, I don't
creative.
believe
You're
that.
so creative,
All right,
Joel.
all right. Let's just start. I was like, the stock was bugging me here all last week, and you had talked about it. Had a Goldman downgrade, and you said
Yep.
you were looking at it, and just wanted to see, just kind of get a follow up on your thoughts here. And it was OWW, and last Wednesday, and we're looking a week ago, it had the week open. Did you get dirty, Harlan?
Absolutely not. You want to know why? When
Yes.
you line up your tops, when you line up your tops off of that peak, line them all up. Have you seen it cross over to the upside like Plug and Ballard and Fuel Cell? Nope. No ticky, no tradey. It didn't
So
cross over to the upside, so it's still in pullback mode. This level right here, though, it is kind of flirting with the 50-day moving average. Plus, you got some good support around 7.5 ish. That's where it broke out. So old resistance, once broken, tends to become new support. So watch for this thing to stabilize in a 7.5 zone right around here. But unless it can break to the upside, there isn't anything to talk about.
Okay, so you're still not even looking at it after this consolidation period here.
Nope, nope. No, there. With what's been going on in the Nasdaq, there are just way too many other great looking stocks.
Okay.
okay, give us a couple of those stocks there, Harlan.
Well, let's look at Facebook.
Facebook,
We
interesting.
didn't even cover that, Dennis. We didn't even
I
cover
know,
that.
and they actually, I had it on my list to beat them up because of their $2 billion purchase of Oculus VR, but I didn't even get to it. So, talk about Facebook. What do you see in Facebook, Harlan?
Well, the stock's in a clearly defined uptrend. It's above the 50-day, flirting with it. And look it's pulling back off its highs. Line up all your tops off of the most recent peak, and when it crosses over to the upside, that's your trigger.
So you're
Simple as
use, you're
that.
using a trend line here.
Yep.
Is that what you're
Just
talking
line up
about?
So
all
the
your
price
tops
you
off of
what price
March
would you like
10th.
it above? Like above 67 or something like that?
Well, I think you can kind of nibble right in here because if I'm not mistaken, the lows that we saw day before yesterday, that's a 50% Fibonacci retracement off of, I think it's the lows of, where the heck is it here? Hang on, guys. Sorry.
Joel, that's your number, that 50%. You should know
Yeah,
this. Joel's quick with
Well,
this there
I'm
math.
trying to figure it out where he's trying to figure out the reach. Is it from six? If you go 60 to 72, that ridiculous move, that's at 66, and we're through below that.
That's
The way I'm looking at this thing is, the acquisitions obviously that we don't understand and may never understand here, but you have
right.
identifiable bottom here under the $64 level, two lows, 63.36, 63.78. So I would look at that as support if I'm looking at it from a swing trade. I think that I see the pretty steep trend line that you're talking about though coming off the
Well, I'm
highs.
I'm using the lows of January.
Okay.
The lows of January and the highs of just recently at 72 and a half ish.
Yep.
The 50% is at like 62.34. So, but it's also flirting with the 50-day moving average. Look at the last time at the end of January. It hit a peak in January, pulled back, stopped cold, consolidated for a few days, right at the 50-day, and bam, took off to the races. So, and if you line up all your lows off of the Thanksgiving low, the January low, that's a nice trend line. So all it's doing is pulling back to, a support level, a 50% retracement level, the 50-day moving average. It's oversold. So, this stock could go back up and retest its highs.
Okay. All right, Harlan. What else you got? What do you got looking at
Well,
today?
let's backtrack to Plug for a second.
Okay. Ooh, yeah. All right,
Did you
Harlan.
get down dirty in there? Did you get in there, Harlan?
No, 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 no. But it's an awesome chart. It really is. If you can pull a daily chart with a 50-day moving average,
You have to tell us. I
you'll
don't.
you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Could you give us the 50-day moving average level, please?
We don't have them on our charts. We're
Yeah.
bad. We're not big fans
We
of
don't
50
believe in
day,
them.
but me and Joel are just tops and bottoms. We're that's too complicated for us, the 50-day, but we respect it.
No, but we'll talk about Fibonacci retracements, right?
Well,
We like to
Harlan,
pick.
Harlan, a
We
little bit
pick
of
the tools in our
sarcasm this morning out of
toolbox.
Harlan.
I
50%
threw the
retracements
50-day
are
out of my
hell of a
toolbox
lot
years
more
ago.
valid than there's only one 50% retracement. How many moving averages can you have? You can have
Uh-oh, don't
a
get Joel to
Well,
put that moving
5 minute. You
average
can have
man.
your 50-day, your 200-day, your
Your
star cross. You can have
125-day,
your
your
moving average, convergence,
5-day.
divergence. You can have.
paralysis by analysis.
Okay, where's the 50-day moving average?
I think it's right around the $5 mark, just below 463.
Okay.
So, but here's the point with this chart. You can see it broke out of a base beginning of March, ran up. Remember how we were talking about it when it was nosebleed level up at 12, and I kept saying, don't chase them, let them come down to you. They'll come back.
Yeah.
And then, of course, obviously they all come back down to earth. So, and at me being a big pullback guy, you can clearly see that pullback also was pretty close to where it broke out.
Yeah.
Old
it
resistance,
is.
Yeah.
once broken, tends to become new support, and that's what we saw on the 13th. That blew right after that big red bar. It came right back down, and so that was a support. So that was nice. Then the Nasdaq got in trouble, and it kind of held in pretty good for the last couple of days while the
Yeah.
Nasdaq was going through its fits of fancy. But line up your peak at 12. There it is, pulled back off its highs. All you had to do is draw your line, and bam, yesterday was the day. Fuel Cell, Ballard, they all fit the same bill.
Yeah.
What
It
I
just
like to
needed a catalyst. I was going to say it just needed a catalyst there, and it got it yesterday with the CEO kicking around on Market Watch saying pending deal with a major automaker, and everybody's like, boom, I want in there because everybody was hawking this chart just like you there, high, and looking at it, it's itching to get back in there, thinking it, eventually might start to run up here again, and that's exactly what it did.
I just like to point out in this chart too, before we move on here, and you talk about, and this is applicable not only to Plug Power here, but a lot of other stocks. Is you had the big down move, the rebound rally, but then when you get these periods of consolidation here, and you basically have 4 or 5 days of pretty tight ranges, that means the bulls and the bears are squaring off here, and you might have even had an inside day here before the day that it broke out. So when I look at these things, I see these huge moves. I see a move up to 50% retracement. You like to see some kind of consolidation period. That's exactly what happened, and then you had the impetus yesterday with the CEO coming on and saying those things. But Harlan, now what do you do? Do you chase this puppy, or what do you do?
I don't.
He doesn't chase.
I typically don't. I mean, if you didn't pick it off, I mean, obviously, it happened on a news event, and it was so fast. It was, don't blink, you miss it. So, but it's just, I use it as a good example of how to use support, resistance, pull back off high patterns. And like you said, the bulls and bears were evenly matched down there when they stabilized. For every buyer, there's got to be a seller, and they were evenly matched. For everyone who was selling, someone was sucking it right up.
Right.
That's really what you want to see.
Maybe
support level.
Maybe we should see what our boys. It wasn't Muddy Waters, right? It was Citron. Citron was the one that was out here bashing this thing. So that should be interesting. Okay, anything else we got in good support levels, or anything else? Or Dennis, you got one for him?
Yeah, actually, I remember I wanted to ask about Zynga here because we got the King IPO here today with the Candy Crush. I'm looking at this Zynga chart, and we brought it up there about 10 minutes on the show, and I thought about you, Harlan. It had this big up move, and now it's pulled back here, and it's kind of just hanging out. You think this Candy Crush IPO, King IPO, could be the catalyst to get Zynga going here again?
I think this chart should have Harlan right here. It should say Harlan.
Well, I'm looking at like a 6-month daily chart with a 50-day. Yesterday's lows were a tag of the 50-day. So, and you got a lift, and whether it's Candy Crush lift or not, you did get a lift right at support, right at the 50-day, right where you were supposed to get it. So that's healthy from a technician's standpoint. The other thing is draw a line across 460. That's where it broke out of its base into a new high, made its run up to 580, put a little mini double top in there, and pulled back off its highs. So I guess if you're going to buy it here, you just set a stop of any break of yesterday's lows. And one of three things are going to happen. You're either going to make a gain, you're going to wash, or you're going to take a loss.
Okay, another one coming out of the chat room here. EWG. Are you familiar with that issue?
I am not.
No, that's
EWG,
is he
but I will
asking
be.
about the Germany ETF? I'm not sure.
Uh,
Colts is in there
I think
asking. I'm not
Cold
sure if he's
Slug.
asking
Is
about the
he
stock.
telling?
That's a Germany ETF.
Oh, really? Is he trying to?
mm,
Yeah, it's the iShares MCI Germany Index Fund. So, boom, boom. I mean, I'll just do a quick tactical on this one, and looks like it's trying to break out here. That's kind of like a. We've seen this chart one time. We've seen it 1,000 times here. Bumping up the 3080 level, hit 3089 yesterday, trading above in the pre-market here. You got a clean breakout if you want to see it. If it comes back in below the close at 3082, you may want to rethink it. But it looks like it's breaking out to the upside. Young Kurt here is pointing out a stock. I'm sure you'll have no interest in this one, Harlan. I don't even know. Luxottica. They sell
what is
the.
that,
They're gonna.
LUX?
Yeah, they're gonna be selling the Google Glass here. Had the gap up yesterday. Now for something like this, it's hands off for Harlan, right? You're not gonna be
Yeah.
interested in this one till you get a pullback.
No, I don't usually chase them like this. It was pulling back really nice, and then this news-driven gap up pretty much destroyed a nice setup that was brewing.
How
So,
about?
but
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead. So, but there is one other one. Was it Moby? Who was talking about Moby?
Yeah, actually, we were just talking about it right before you came on, and it had a huge pullback yesterday. Stock was like 11.40, and boom, lost almost $2 intraday. Kind of hanging out here. What's your thoughts on this Moby?
It's extended. It broke out at 6, ran to 12. You got 100% gain. How much more do you want? And then when you have these stocks that just go straight up like this, when you get into market climates like the NASDAQ has been, when they go straight up and they really don't have any consolidation along the way, those are the ones that, they look like an air pocket on the way up. They get filled really quick. Is it going back to the 50-day? I don't know. I doubt it. But, it is pulling back off its highs. But, 2-3 days does not a pullback off highs make. Nothing compared to like Facebook or Tesla or VIPs, VIPS. There's just tons of names that are all pulling back in the NASDAQ right to their 50-day moving averages or a support level or even a Fibonacci retracement.
Okay, Harlan being consistent in his analysis as usual. We have J. Dot looking at new field exploration here. Once again, had to pull back off the highs from the $29 level, but boy, back off to the races here. Once again, this one probably didn't give you enough of a pullback to look at then, huh? NFX?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you like.
Well, it was there. You look at the beginning of March. Hit a peak at 29, nice and tight, orderly pullback off highs right into the 27 and change.
So you'll
And
buy.
all you had to do was wait for it to cross over to the upside.
So you'll try and buy things on weakness, and then you'll also kind of say, okay, I didn't buy it on weakness, I'm going to buy it on strength. You kind of have a two-pronged strategy.
I'll buy weakness as long as there's structure, technical structure. Is the stock in a clearly defined uptrend? Is it pulling back off highs? Is it above the 50-day moving average? Things like that. That's what I need to see. When I look at NFX, there's another one that comes to mind. When you see that consolidation at the beginning of the month where it pulls back off its highs and then takes off, go pull up GoGo.
Go. Okay.
We were just talking about
Yeah, we were
GoGo,
just talking
actually.
about
I know, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Way to go, Harlan. Paying attention.
I try.
Okay, what do you think about
So
GoGo
you like this
here?
GoGo chart here?
Well, look at it. It, since the first of the month, not as pronounced as NFX, mind you, with the big thrust up, but it thrusted off the, let's call it 20, ran up to 24, and look what it's doing now. It's pulling back off its highs. So, for me, if I was going to be a buyer, I'd line up those tops off of 25-ish, and you'll see, I think that comes in around about 22, 23-ish.
So it starts getting back above 22 with some little bit of oomph, you get interested.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then you can set your stop of any break below yesterday's lows.
Okay.
One more here, Harlan, before we let you go. From the chat, DJ's asking about SPLK, which is Splunk. And this might be one that interests you a little bit more because this had an incredible run up at the end of February, got all the way up to 106, and now has significantly pulled back here, almost all the way back to where it consolidated for a long period of time in December. What do you think of this SPLK chart?
He loves
Well,
it.
you know, overall, if you line up your lows off of October, November, it broke, and it also broke the 50-day moving average. So you broke a major uptrend in that issue. But like you said, it came right back down into, that 70 and change range from back in late January, early February, which is, it's a little support level. It's still big picture. It's a busted stock.
Right.
Dead cat bounce. If you own it, dead cat bounce. Maybe it gets a short cover rally or something. But from here on out, I'd be looking at a bounce, and if it puts in a bear channel per se, builds a bear channel over next week or two, I'd use the strength to walk away.
That 72.42 that it hit yesterday, I'm looking back on January 27th, it hit 72.43. You also had a couple lows there in that area, 72.66. So to me, that I just don't think it's going to be blasting right through that level. That looks like a really good support level. And if you basically had a 30-point move from the highs, I mean, you could get this thing. If it ever gets back to 90, look at someone decided, I want out at 90. Look at that.
Didn't they?
4 days in a row.
They did.
I mean, that's
Exactly.
why you got to look at
So, well, the NASDAQ took it on the chin. So,
Right.
And this is a growth name. So, rightfully so, it kind of, when it broke support, it was just bombed away. But you're absolutely right. It's got nice support down in there, but guess what? Any rally is going to be capped by that resistance level.
Okay, all right.
So,
We've had Harlan Pyan all about trends, sticking with his careful detail analysis here. Buying stocks on pullbacks been a pretty good idea over the last couple of years. Harlan, thanks for making our Wednesday morning show a little bit better, and we'll have you on next week. Have a good day.
awesome. See you later, guys. Thanks. Take care.
Thanks, Harlan.